In the early 1900s, it was a neighborhood built on faith, family, and black home ownership during a time when none of that was guaranteed. And now, Norfolk's Titustown community could finally get the official recognition many people say it's long deserved. Here's what one line in Virginia's new state budget means for the people who call this neighborhood home. In Norfolk's Titustown community, every block has a story, and for some people, that story starts right here.
We're, of course, sitting in a church here, Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, that's over 100 years old. It continues to be the heartbeat of this community, and again, we think that that is worth celebrating and protecting for future generations.
Delegate Phil Hernandez helped secure $100,000 in Virginia's state budget to help determine if Titustown qualifies as a historic district.
Black homeownership at a time of Jim Crow right here in our city of Norfolk, we haven't found a way to recognize that in an official way yet. It's a little bit surprising.
Surveyors and historians will come in to document the neighborhood's legacy, but Civic League President Michael Wilson says the paperwork is secondary.
It gives us back the sense of pride that our ancestors, our predecessors, had when they invested in this community. And the city will always recognize their hard work, their commitment, and their dedication.
The funding was initially cut from the budget proposal, but lawmakers put it back in, and Governor Glenn Youngkin signed the final budget last Friday.
The money is one thing, but what we want and what we won't stop until we get is the historic designation for this neighborhood.
For longtime members of Mount Pleasant, it also means preserving a piece of their identity.
It would uphold the legacy of the community in which these families represent and they're so proud of.
To mentor us here, that was a great strength.
We were just like one big happy family where we did a lot together.
It gave us a sense of being safe in this segregated world. We had no fear in this community.
Now, more than 100 years later, the story of Titustown is still being written.
We fought this hard for funding. Can you imagine how hard we'll fight for the next step up?
And that next step is for the city of Norfolk to work with state preservation officials to start the survey process. If approved, Titustown would not only gain recognition, but potential access to historic tax credits and protections, helping preserve what stood for more than a century. Email me if you know a person or group making a mark in Hampton Roads. I want to tell their story, and man, the story of Norfolk's Titustown. If you don't know, now you know. If you're driving down so many of the streets in that area, and you pass Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, you pass so many of these historic landmarks, and you don't know the history behind it. There's so much great history in Norfolk and really across Hampton Roads.
Such rich history for sure.
Yeah, well, it's always important too to talk to people who live within the community.
Absolutely.
Right? That's what I love about these stories. You have these conversations, and they get to talking about their stories, their history, their relatives, and great story.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So great to speak to so many residents who have lived there for decades at this point and can tell that story. But again, Hampton Roads, just a beautiful place to live.